Let's party.
Welcome and good morning. We're going to get started in just a minute to go through the California Relief Grant Program. Just want to give everybody a second to log in. Okay, welcome. Good morning. Good Sunday morning to everybody. Thanks for joining us. Today we're going to go through the California Relief Grant Program. If you have been on before, this will be the same information that we've gone through prior. The hope is that by tomorrow or Tuesday, we will have a workable application that we can share with you as well. Today we're going to go through the basics of the program, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the website itself and just walk you through that. I have Scott Rogowski with me from Northern California SBDCs. And so we are going to try to get through this content and then answer any questions you may have. If we have the answers, if we don't, we will try to get them for you. We do have a lot of questions that we're waiting to hear answers back from that we'll probably get back tomorrow. But let me just quickly go through this page. So today we're going to talk about the program, the eligibility requirements, what the funds can be used for. We're going to walk you through the basic application protocols, and then we're going to go through some FAQs, and then we're going to try to answer as many questions as possible. So please put them in the Q&A if you can. And so I'm going to turn it over to Scott to talk about the SBDC and a little bit about our program.
Thank you very much, Mike. Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday to all of you. So yeah, the SBDC, Small Business Development Centers, we are the consulting arm of SBA, Small Business Administration. So we are funded federally from SBA. We're also funded by the California Governor's Office of Economic Development, which is called GoBiz. So we have federal funding and state funding. And because of this funding, we come to you, small business owners, entrepreneurs, at no cost. And we have 5 networks across our state. I'm in Northern California. Mike Daniel is in Orange County, Inland Empire. And the services that we provide for small businesses and startups is no cost, and we can help you with access to capital, such as what this grant program is all about. We are, during COVID, we've been experts around PPP, EIDL, helping you transition into e-commerce. We have a restaurant program that we're helping a lot of restaurants. And then also something else that's really popular is employees, and then also lease rent negotiations. So we can do all this for you at no cost. You're going to learn a lot more about what we get to do in regards to this loan and other types of services and resources we have for you.
Perfect. I want to start with this. This is the site where you will apply. It's careliefgrant.com, and it is run by Lendistry, who is the administrator for this grant. We are helping the state of California to get the information out. And so the grant program starts this coming Wednesday, December 30th at 8 a.m. and it will run through Friday, January 8th, which is the time that you have to upload all of your documentation for round 1. There are 2 rounds of this program, but if you are in round 1 and you happen to not be selected, you do have the ability to be put into round 2. So we do want everybody to apply for round 1, but it is careliefgrant.com is the place to go. So we'll take you there as soon as we're done with this presentation, so you get a chance to see what it looks like.
All right, so about the grant program, really quickly, for those of you that are in chat, thanks for being in chat. We're not going to answer any questions in chat. Please send all your questions to the Q&A. Also, we're not going to be able to get to every question, but we are documenting these questions. We are sending them, the most common ones, to Lendistry, the ones that we don't have answers for. And we're going to give you some information at the end on how you can contact us, and you can get information and talk to a live person about that. So about the program, it's a total loan funds or grant funds of $475 million that is administered through this California Office of Small Business Advocate. It'll be distributed by Lendistry. Lendistry is a lender. They're a for-profit lender. They are the intermediary from the state of California to you to get the grant funds to you. And they're working with a couple other third parties to make that happen as far as partners such as SBDC and many others. So there's two rounds. So what Mike talked about in the previous slide is round one, which launches on December 30th, ends on January 8th. You're going to hear us say this over and over again, that it's not a first come, first serve basis. You don't have to apply on the 30th to get actually looked at and processed. You have from the 30th to the 8th in the first round. We're going to go through what that looks like and how you're selected. As far as how you're notified in the selection. So round one, they're breaking it up. So take 475 divided by two even rounds of 237.5 million. The application portal for each round will open for applicants open to active for-profit and not-profit businesses, which Mike's going to explain what those both are. So grants are available up to $25,000 per eligible business. We're going to talk about what an eligible business is. Yearly gross revenue must be a minimum of 1,000 and a maximum of 2.5 million. You have to have an active business since June 1st of 2019. So you had to have started your business June 1st, 2019 or previous. So if you started in 2020, you are not eligible for this grant program. Active means that you're generating revenue. So if you look on the right, this is the chart. This is the chart that we'll show over and over again. You'll see this on the website. This talks about what type of grant, how much you qualify for, depending on the revenue size of your business or nonprofit. So if you're between 1,000 and 100,000, you can qualify for you qualify for a $5,000 grant. From 100,000 to $1 million, you can qualify for a $15,000 grant. And from $1 million to $2.5 million, it's $25,000 grant. And we're going to go over what these gross revenue line items mean and how to find them.
So the definition of a small business can be a sole proprietor, independent contractor, 1099 worker, a C Corp, an S Corp, an LLC, a partnership, and in your 2018 or 2019 taxes. So they'd like to see your 2019 tax returns. If you don't have your 19s, then your 18s will be sufficient. And you have to do at least a yearly gross revenue of $1,000 and no more than 2.5 million. And we'll tell you exactly where to find that on your tax returns, depending on how you file. And it is your business tax returns, unless you're a sole prop or 1099. And then for small nonprofits, it's the same thing. So you're a 501c3 or C6 are the only two eligible nonprofit registration entities. And on your 19 taxes or your 18, it's no more than 1,000 or no more than 2.5 million and no less than $1,000 of either revenue, gross income, or however you phrase how you generate income for your nonprofit. So those are the two definitions, either for a small business or a nonprofit, and that is how the state has defined what constitutes being eligible for this business.
Thank you. So again, we're not going to get to all the questions. What we're going to do is go through this. As you see all these slides, we're going to read them to you. There's a lot of text, but it's all great information. So if you stay on the whole presentation, most of your questions will be answered. About 89% of the questions you ask will be answered in all these slides, and we'll continue to tell you as long as the program is open. But to start off with the eligibility requirements, so you must meet the definition of an eligible small business. So we're going to go over that. Active businesses or nonprofits operating since at least June 1st. So that's something you're going to see over and over and over again. Business must be impacted by COVID-19 and health and safety restrictions such as business interruptions or business closures incurred as a result of COVID-19 pandemic. Applications will be required to certify eligibility. So the certification eligibility, some questions about that already. That is self-certified. It's in the application. So you don't have to worry about submitting a certification of some sort. We are going to walk you through this. As much information as we know today, we're going to have a lot more tomorrow and Tuesday. But to certify the eligibility, including that the grant will be used for the specific applicant and that such applicant is the business with the highest revenue. What that means is if you have multiple businesses or franchises or locations, and they're all not eligible for multiple grants. You're only allowed to apply once. Unlike the PPP and EIDL where you can apply multiple times per business, with this grant program, you can only apply once if you have multiple locations, multiple franchises, and multiple businesses. You have to choose the business that has the highest revenue. So businesses must be able to provide organizational documents in an acceptable form of government issued photo ID. So the revenue verification, like we talked about, the minimum of 1,000 to qualify, and then the different spectrums on the scale. So 1,000 to 100, 100 to a million, and a million to 2.5. Where do you find that number? Well, depending on the entity structure of your business, you look on your IRS tax form. We're also here to help you at no cost to find these numbers to decide what you qualify for. So for 1120, whether you know who you are, if you're a C Corp or S Corp, it's line 1C. It's line 3 on the Schedule C. So the Schedule C is usually for sole proprietors or single member LLCs. So Schedule C, line 3. Line 1C for 1065 partnerships. Line 1C and line 2 for Schedule F. If you're a farming business, you know who you are. Line 12 on Form 990 for nonprofits. And Schedule E is not eligible. So if you have a Schedule E, it's not eligible for this grant as far as gross sales counting towards what you qualify for. But Schedule C is all day long.
So ineligible businesses, as defined by Lendistry in the state of California, businesses without a physical location in California, nonprofits that are not registered as a 501c3 or C6, government entities outside of Native American tribes who are eligible for this, businesses primarily engaged in political or lobbying activities, passive business and investment companies, and we'll talk about that in the FAQs in just a moment. Churches and other religious institutions are not eligible. Now, we did check on schools that are part of a church or religious institution, and we're still waiting to hear back if they are eligible, but at this moment, we do not know. Financial businesses primarily engaged in the business of lending. Businesses engaged in any activity that is illegal under federal, state, or local law. Businesses of a prurient sexual nature. Businesses engaged in any socially undesirable activity or activities that may be considered predatory. Businesses that restrict patronage for any reason other than capacity, and speculative businesses are all ineligible types of businesses. And we'll probably get a lot of questions around that, but during the FAQs, we'll try to answer some of these as we go through that.
All right, so uses of funds. So there's eligible and ineligible use of funds, just like there is with PPP and EIDL. So you'll see a lot of similarities here. So the eligible use of funds are only those costs incurred due to the COVID-19 pandemic and the health and safety restrictions, such as business interruptions or business closures incurred as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. So the eligible uses of funds are all employee expenses, including payroll costs, healthcare benefits, paid sick, medical, or family leave, and insurance premiums. Anything that's working capital related, including rent, utilities, mortgage, principal, and interest payments, all that's also known as overhead, excluding mortgage prepayments, debt payments, principal, and interest incurred after March 1st of 2020. Any costs associated with reopening your business operations after being fully or partially closed due to the state mandated COVID-19 health and safety restrictions, costs associated with complying with COVID-19 federal, state, or local guidelines for reopening with required safety protocols, including but not limited to the equipment, plexiglass barriers, outdoor dining, PPE supplies, testing, and employee training expenses, any other COVID-19 related expenses not already covered for the same period, through grants, forgivable loans, or other relief through federal, state, county, or city programs. So if you receive money for PPP and EIDL, you can still qualify for this loan. If you receive money in your local city or county, you can still qualify for these funds. You just can't use these funds for the same reason why you use the other money for, like employee and stuff like that. So ineligible uses of funds, you can't use it for human resource expenses for the state share of Medicaid, employee bonuses, or severance pay. Can't use it for taxes or legal settlements, any personal expenses or other expenses unrelated to COVID-19 impacts. Can't use it for expenses for repairs from damages already covered by insurance, and reimbursement to donors for donated items or services.
Okay. I'm going to walk you through the application process. So as we've discussed before, there are 2 rounds to this, and we'd like for you to get in as soon as possible as far as making sure that you get into the first round. Now, it's not first come, first serve, but we'd like for you to get in before that January 8th deadline. So that way, if you aren't selected in the first round, you'll automatically be put in the second round, and you'll have 2 chances versus just having one chance at half the funding. The application, again, opens the 30th and closes on the 8th, and then they should start notifying people around the 13th for the first round. So we don't know exactly when the second round will open, but if you get into the first round and you aren't funded, you will automatically be put into the second round. So we want to make sure that you're aware that that is going to happen. So Scott, you want to go through the first part?
Yep. All right. So the application stages, we'll start with stage one. We don't want to confuse you. There's a lot of things going on with the application process and the stages. So stage one is the initial application. So businesses will need to complete a grant application made available through an online portal by Lendistry. Again, Lendistry is the intermediary lender that's essentially taking the money from the state to you as a grant that you don't need to pay back. But and there's a lot of questions on, do you have to apply through a partner? So we're going to go over all that later. So you need to upload selected financial and organizational documents that they're going to request from you, and self-certify the accuracy of information by signing an application certification. So again, that's that certification. You don't have to have it in your drawer that you have to submit for this. It's internal for Lendistry as you apply. So you don't need to worry about qualifying for this certification. It's through the application that you're certifying that what you filled out is correct and that you're supplying the right information. So the following information is required from all applicants in stage one. So a copy of the signed certification from what we're talking about, the most recent tax return filed. So if you haven't refiled 2019, it's okay. You can submit 2018, but if you don't have 18 filed, then it's going to be an issue. So they're only going off the taxes, either 18 or 19 taxes. At this time, we haven't heard anything about 2020 yet. So provided in electronic form for online upload, such as PDF or JPEG. An acceptable form of government issued photo ID provided in electronic form, such as JPEG or PDF. Same thing. So you have to upload it as a certain type of document. Available evidence of minimum gross annual revenue of no less than $1,000 per year, which is what is the minimum qualifier to apply.
Okay. And keep in mind, this is the first part of the application. This is what you'll fill out and submit into the Lendistry portal and the CAReliefgrant.com portal. This is where it starts. So this is all that you need for the first part. Now, if you are selected, and they will let you know whether you're selected, you're on a wait list, or that you were not approved based on something that you didn't qualify for. If you are selected, which should happen, after the 8th, within the next couple weeks, then you'll go back in and you'll submit a few other documents. And so we're still waiting to get some clarification. So you will need to submit one of these documents, not all of these documents. So one of the documents, you have to be incorporated. It could be your articles of incorporation. It could be your certificate of organization, your fictitious name of registration, or your DBA if you have one of those, a government issued business license, whether it be city, county, state, if you happen to have any of those. If not, we're still waiting to get clarification if there are other documents that they will accept, like a professional certification or license. We're hopeful that one of those will suffice as well, and they want to work with as many people as possible. So we're still trying to get that, but you will need a copy of that. And then for nonprofits, you'll need your most recent IRS tax exemption letter. And then at this point, you'll also need verification of your bank account so that Lendistry can go in and make sure that you have a valid bank account and that it's not a fraudulent bank account. That's kind of what they're looking for. But this is a direct ACH deposit if you receive these funds. So it's not a check, it goes right into your bank account. So they'll need, and this is for the second part. So after you've been told that you're going to receive this, you'll do these things and upload it directly up to it. And then I'll just quickly go through this real quick of how they're determining, right? So they've created somewhat of a scorecard based around, how you're eligible. And keep in mind, there's 4.2 million small businesses, probably 1 million nonprofits, and there's $475 million. So not everybody's going to receive funding. So they have created a scorecard. And so these are the 4 criteria that they're using. First is that your business has been impacted the most, the effects of COVID-19. Whether it be the safer economy or the regional stay-at-home orders. Most of us and most of our counties have all been affected. So a lot of us will fit into this category. 2 is businesses impacted the most financially based on gross revenue losses. So we do know that you don't need your 2020 taxes. So that's been a question in the chat box. But you will need to know what the number is that you've done so far to date. So that way you're going to be asked, what are your 2020 sales or your 2020 gross revenue? So they can compare them to your taxes. Another qualifier will be certain impacted industries, retail, restaurant, hospitality, personal care, all of those businesses. And then the 4th one will be underserved small business groups. So if you happen to be a women-owned business, a minority, person of color-owned business, veteran business, low to moderate income, rural communities, if you're a 50-50 partnership, you might want to choose the one that fits maybe into one of these categories versus the one that maybe doesn't if you have two people. But it's at least 51% of the business is owned and run on a daily basis by some of these groups. So we're still waiting for total clarification of what this looks like on the application, but this is their scorecard of what they're looking at. So they're going to ask you a few questions. There's 5 or 6 questions that will be, are you a woman-owned business or veteran-owned or minority-owned? What type of industry are you in? So you will need your NAICS code or NAICS code. So we'll walk you through that when at another point in time. But this is how they're using the scorecard to validate.
All right, so identification of funding. So real quick, again, please put all your questions in the Q&A in the chat. So we are downloading all the questions from all the webinars that we've done. You will get a copy of this presentation. You will get a copy of this recording. That's going to be all sent out to you, so don't worry about all that. But we are tracking all the questions, and we are going to get answers to you from Lendistry as we move through the next few days. So when we find out if you received an award, so award is the grant. So the grant is money that you don't have to pay back. It's not a loan. I apologize. Some people in the chat were saying that I kept saying it's a loan. That's my bad. Don't tell Mike that I messed up. All right, so you'll be notified directly by email if you are approved for an award, waitlisted, or not selected. So regardless of the status of your application in the process, you are going to find out through email from Lendistry. But you have to be able to know where to find the email from Lendistry. So Lendistry intends to send out approval notifications for the first round weekly, starting on around January 13th. So please add Lendistry. Again, they are the lender, the intermediary lender from the state to get you this grant money. Lendistry to your safe sender list in your email, and check your spam for email messages from Lendistry. Similar to PP and IDLE, like where they went through your spam, just make sure Lendistry is on the safe sender list so you can receive all their emails. So once you're notified of approval, your application will be selected or subject to additional verification requirements before the grants will be dispersed, and that'd be stage 2. It is also recommended that you allow Lendistry to send you messages via text. This will be requested during the application process, so be aware of it.
Okay. I'm going to go through these tips for applying. There's 3 tips that we have based on Lendistry has done a lot of other grant programs for the state of Pennsylvania and several others. So they've run into some issues, obviously, with web browsers. So what they said, Google Chrome is the best choice to use as you're filling out your application. It's an online application, or you could do it off your phone. So if you don't have Google Chrome, we will send this presentation out to you. As soon as this presentation is over, or this webinar is over, you can click to download Google Chrome right there. It doesn't cost you anything. In fact, nothing should cost you any money to apply for this grant. So it is completely free. You don't have to become a Lendistry member as far as, having a bank account with them. There's nothing to do other than to fill out the application. So that is tip 1. Tip 2 is to make sure that you use an acceptable email address in your application. Make sure that it doesn't go to some generic email that you're not answering or that you don't have access to. Make sure that you put it on an email address that you check all the time and regularly. So don't use info@mycompany or contact or no reply. Make sure that you're using your own or a corporate or company or business executives that you can get to daily. And the last thing is make sure that you scan your documents properly. They won't accept documents that they can't read. They won't accept screenshots of documents. So make sure that if you don't have the scanner or don't have the ability to scan it correctly, you can download either Genius Scan or Adobe Scan. Again, free resources for you off of Apple, Android. And I'll show you just a quick couple of tips. So on the left-hand side is an acceptable version of a document that you will scan to them. On the right-hand side are unacceptable documents that they won't take and they won't accept. And they may not come back to you. They may not have the ability to come back to you. So make sure that you scan it correctly. If you don't have that ability, check with, whether it be a neighbor or, the libraries, if they happen to be open in your area, whether it's a FedEx store, there's definitely some places that you might be able to go if you don't have that ability to scan it yourself. So now we'll move on to the FAQs, and we'll try to get to a lot of the questions that you're asking. Will probably be answered in 10 or 15 of these questions here. So Scott?
Yeah, so regarding the FAQs, so will I be notified if I am not selected? So you'll be notified directly by email if you're approved for an award, the grant, waitlisted or not selected. So there's some questions in the queue about what does waitlisted mean? We don't know at this time. We would be making assumptions just like you would, but we're going to wait for further guidance from Lendistry. So if you're approved for an award, waitlisted or not selected, you'll be notified by email. So again, just please add Lendistry to your safe sender list and check for spam in your email, because it could, you don't normally get messages from Lendistry.
What information is Lendistry pulling from your bank account? They're actually not pulling any. They're making sure that you have a valid and legitimate bank account for your business. Now, it could be a personal account that you use for your business, perfectly fine. But they want to make sure that it's been used over the last 90 to 120 days. I'm sure a lot of you guys saw fraud on, IDLE, PPP, different things like that, where money got dumped into bank accounts that weren't being used. They want to make sure that it's an active account. So they're not checking, they're not going to ask you for your password. They're not going to ask you for credentials, anything like that. And they're using something that is run by Visa. So obviously a big name in lending industry. So they're using standards that follow Visas. Just make sure when you put your bank account that you're not using an account that you don't ever use, because that's exactly what they won't put money into accounts that don't have any activity in the last 90 to 120 days.
All right, so I have a franchise business with multiple locations. Can I apply for assistance for each location? So this is very common. There's some questions around this that we don't have an answer to, but this is very definitive from the state of California, and as far as a qualification. So if you do have a franchise with multiple locations, can you apply for assistance for each location? So the answer is no. Owners of multiple businesses, franchise locations, etc., will be considered for only one grant and are required to apply for their business with the highest revenue. Applicants will need to certify that the application is being submitted on behalf of the applicant by the majority owner of the applicant, and that applicant is the owner's business with the highest revenue as a condition to receiving the grant. So we understand that this is a long answer to a simple question, and this is where we're here to help you, again, at no cost, to kind of walk through this and figure this out. We know that there's a lot of multiple locations and franchises out there, and this is very confusing on how best to choose and see what's right. So again, it's a little confusing, but we're here to help you.
Okay. Our federal Paycheck Protection Program, PPP, or Economic Injury Disaster Loan, or city or county grants, have I received any funding from anything else? Am I still eligible? Yes, you are. And, you are still eligible if you receive PPP, EIDL, county money, city money, private philanthropic funding. You are still eligible for this. You just need to use this money on something other than what you spent the money on for those funds. So just making sure that you have that understanding.
Are recipients of county city business relief funds eligible to apply, and will that be considered in any way in the process? So again, if you receive PPP and EIDL, or you receive money from your local city or county, you still do qualify and are eligible to apply. So county city relief recipients may apply. However, from this grant cannot be used to cover the same expenses that the county city relief funds covered. So for example, if you use county city funds for employee expenses and rent, you can't use this grant money for the same thing. Again, I know that could be a little confusing and hard to figure out with your financials and your numbers, but again, we're here to help you at no cost.
Yeah, perfect. And the one question I've seen a lot, you can be a home-based business and you are still eligible. So if you're a home-based business, you are still eligible to apply. You just use your California home address to fit into the requirements. Another question that I've seen a lot come up, do I have to pay taxes on the grant proceeds? Yes. Prior to February 15th, 2022, you will receive tax information related to the grant proceeds. So this is a taxable grant. So you will pay taxes on it.
So if you don't own a computer, how can you apply? So the grant application is mobile friendly. So you can use it with all your handheld devices, iPads, your notebooks, probably your phones. It's all mobile friendly. So you do not need a computer, but they do strongly recommend using Google Chrome on a computer for optimal experience, so that that's the platform that they're running it on. So if you apply on that platform, it'll go through smoothly. It won't glitch or anything like that. But yes, it is mobile friendly.
I lost fiscal verification paperwork. Can I send a screenshot from the site? So Secretary of State documents or your city or county business license. No, you cannot. You need the actual documentation. So if you don't have it, I would suggest, trying to get it as soon as possible so that you have it ready in case you are selected.
Do I need to provide receipts of my purchases, for example, PPE? You do not need to provide receipts of purchase as part of the application process. However, they recommend that you retain all of your records related to the grant and the use of funds for at least 3 years. So very similar to the EIDL loan. Please document everything correctly and as much as you can, and keep that in your records so that if anything were to happen, you're well prepared and you can provide what's needed.
Okay. I'm undocumented. Can I apply for a grant? So yes, you can. As long as you have an I-10 verification through the IRS form CP565, you are eligible to apply for this grant.
So my business is incorporated outside of California, but I generate the majority of my business revenue in California. Am I eligible to apply? So eligible businesses must have a physical address and operate in California. And I'm sure we're gonna have a lot more questions in regards to this. Mike said that home-based businesses qualify and they are eligible, so that is true. But if you're incorporated outside of California and you generate most of your businesses in California, you do have to have a physical address and operate in California.
Are real estate companies, brokers, sales agents eligible grantees? So this is kind of broken into a couple parts here. So real estate professionals who practice real estate and file a Schedule C on their personal tax returns are eligible. Passive companies that file a Schedule E on their personal tax returns are not eligible. Real estate businesses in which the majority of their income is rental income are also not eligible. Okay, so 3 different pieces here. So real estate professionals who file a Schedule C on their personal tax returns are eligible. Passive companies that file a Schedule C or Schedule E on their personal tax returns are not eligible. And real estate businesses in which the majority of their income is rental income are also not eligible. Okay, so a couple of different pieces there.
A government issued photo ID is a required document. Is a state ID allowed instead of a driver's license, or would other forms of picture identification be allowed? Yes, any government issued photo ID will be accepted. State ID or a passport would be other forms that are acceptable.
Do I have to submit documentation to verify ownership? Do multi-owner companies have to submit for one owner or all? So an application must be submitted by the majority owner. So it's going to come from just one person. So whoever the majority is, if there's not a majority and it's even 50-50 split, 25-25, 25-25 split, or 10% for 10 people, you have one person submit the application, but only one business owner can apply for the business.
Are the revenue thresholds for the grant amounts based on gross revenue? Revenue is determined based on the IRS tax form definition of gross sales. So we're not talking about profits here. It's not bottom line, net profit, net loss. We're talking about top line. It's usually in the 1 to 3 line, depending on the entity that you are. It's gross sales, gross revenue, gross sales, less any returns or allowances, as reported on line 1C on both 1120C and 1120S, depending on the corporation you are, the type of corporation. On line 3 on IRS Schedule C for single member LLCs and sole proprietors, like 1099 contractors, all of those types of entities qualify. So sole proprietors, 1099 contractors are all qualify. On line 1C for Form 1065 for partnerships, line 1C and line 2 on Form Schedule F. There was a question a little bit later about do farmers qualify? Since Schedule F is a qualification, an eligibility qualification, and yes, farming businesses would be eligible to apply. And line 12 on Form 990 for nonprofits. And again, a lot of questions around Schedule E. It doesn't matter the corporation or LLC or 1099 that you are. Kind of goes back to what Mike was talking about regarding the real estate stuff. If you have a Schedule E, it's fine that you have one, but you can't use that gross revenue to add to your regular revenue or other revenue to get to a different level to qualify for a different amount. So Schedule E income does not count.
I own multiple businesses. Can I apply for each business? As we stated a few times, no, you cannot. You can only apply for one business, and they're asking you to apply for the business with the highest revenue.
So this is a chart. You're going to see this chart a lot. It's on the website at californiareliefgrant.com. It's all over our website, californiasbdc.org. And the grant funding structure is as such. So again, it may be confusing to you to know where to find this line item, this gross revenue or gross sales. We are here to help you find that. So if you have an annual gross revenue, a minimum of 1,000 to qualify. If you have 1,000 to 100,000, you qualify for a $5,000 grant award. Annual gross revenue between 100,000 and $1 million. That's a $15,000 grant award. And then $1 million to 2.5 million. That's a $25,000 grant award. Again, you don't have to pay it back. It's not a loan. It's a grant, but it is taxable. And it does get a little confusing if you haven't filed 2019 taxes, but you filed 18 and they are a certain amount of revenue and 19 is a different set of revenue. Those are all case by case. We don't have direct answers for you today on that, but we will be here for you, kind of holding your hand next week as you apply.
Okay. Again, careliefgrant.com. This portal opens December 30th at 8 a.m. through Friday, January 8th at 11:59 p.m. for the first round. So we want to make sure that everybody is in and ready. I'm going to try to get some of these answers. You know, a lot of people are asking about financial documents and the security. This is a secure site that you're uploading this to. This is run and owned by Lendistry, who is a community development financial institution and a lender. And so it will be safe and secure. Whether or not you have to upload all of your tax documents, we are going to find out for you. We don't have clarification on that yet. If you wanted to hear this again, we are doing it in other languages starting tomorrow. So tomorrow we'll be doing it in Armenian, and then you'll see kind of working our way down. It does open on the 30th. And so if you needed help with this grant one-on-one, just through the application process, we have 65 centers spread throughout the state. We have a center close to you. We will send this off to you so that you'll have all of these different centers and their telephone numbers so you can get a hold of them if you need some help through this. We'll also have this open, and we will, as soon as we have the application, we'll be walking people through it. But I now want to take everybody to the site itself so that you can see what it looks like. Can you see the screen, Scott?
Yes, I can. Yeah.
Perfect. So this is what the site looks like.
No, not the website. No, sorry.
No. Okay.
Still the slides. You have to unshare and then share again. Yeah.
Give me 1 second to get there. Got it. Okay. So this is what the site looks like. So again, it's careliefgrant.com. So it's, you know, this takes you exactly to where you want to go. Right now, it is not completely built out. They're still in the process of building this out. Keep in mind, this program came about 3 weeks ago. So they're putting it all together as we speak. This goes through a lot of the information that we discussed, and you know they're constantly uploading or updating this. Now, the one piece that is going to be a little funky, as you apply, there is no just apply here button. You have to find a partner. Now, don't worry, you don't have to do anything with that partner other than, you know, if that partner helped you, or if you would like help from that partner, you have the ability to do that. But let's just say we go by county, or you can go by language, but let's go by county. And so we'll open up every county, all 58 in California. Let's just say you happen to be in Kern County. You click on Kern County. These are all the partners in this, and none of these partners charge anything to do this. Now, keep that in mind too. You should not be paying for anything. These are all the partners. So it doesn't really matter which partner you go through, but once that application is live, you click on the application. It doesn't matter if you go to the Asian Business Association, you go to Cameo, SBDC is where we're from, the Black Chamber. You just click on the application and it will take you right into the application. That's it. You don't need, and it's more of a tracking of where you came from. And that's all that Lendistry to let them know too, that this organization is here to help you. That is the only kind of nuance to this website itself. But again, you just click on find a partner. You go by county or by language. It's up to you. Whatever county you're from, you'll see all the different partners. I happen to be in Orange County. So these are all the partners that are working with this grant opportunity. Again, no one's charging you anything. Your information won't be shared with any of these organizations. So if you click on application opens, once it's live and available, once you click on it, it will take you right to the application. So that's the only use that you have with a partner, unless you want help from that partner. And again, it's all free for them to help you. And they're we're all here to help you through this process. So with that, I'm gonna take a screenshot real quick of all the questions, just so that I have them. And then we're gonna try to answer some of these. Just give me 1 second to copy this. Apologize, there were 175 questions, so it's gonna take me a second. Scott, if you wanna kind of go through a couple of the questions.
Yeah, so sounds good. So does a business need to apply through a partner agency? You don't. You could apply through, well, I don't know. Hey, Mike, do they have to apply through a partner agency, or can they just, they do?
Yeah, you're gonna have to apply that way I showed you. So you go to careliefgrant.com, click on county or language, and then go into your county. And if you have multiple locations, it doesn't matter which county you go through. If you want to use Orange County, LA County, Santa Barbara County, Kern County, Sacramento County, it's fine. Just click on one, once the application is live, it will take you every partner. It'll say, if you want help with that from that partner, click here, or go directly to the application. You click that and it will take you right into the application. There's no other, the partner won't have any ability to kind of see what you're doing. It's just if you want help, and that way they can refer you back to that partner if you need additional help.
Yeah, okay, yeah. And you don't need to register ahead of time with Lendistry to qualify to apply. So it doesn't go live. Again, it doesn't go live until December 30th. So if you click on the link that Mike was showing you, it won't go anywhere until the 30th at 8 a.m. or after. So again, it is not first come, first serve. So you don't have to, like concert tickets, you don't have to check it right at 8 a.m. and apply to get what you're trying to get. You have from the 30th to the 8th, and it's all there's some sort of algorithm to kind of put this together to award the grants depending on their requirements and their eligibility requirements. So we don't know all those yet. We're still learning all those. There's another question about, does SBDC have enough technical assistance individuals or consultants or advisors to help you? And the answer is yes. There's 4 million businesses, for-profits in the state of California, and there's about another 1 million nonprofits. Do we have enough people to help 5 million people? No, but we are partnering with other resources. Lendistry has about 500 partners on this. We're one of them. We're the largest. We have more feet on the ground, business advisors on the ground to help you at no cost. There is numbers. If you go to californiasbdc.org, I'll put this in the chat and everything. You can check out, you click on the relief. You can check out the phone numbers and the emails to get a hold of us during this break, from now till January 4th. But we do have about, I don't know, in Northern California, we have 500 business advisors, probably in the state close to 2,000 on the ground, ready to help you, and they're going to be all equipped with all this information as we are teaching you right now.
Yeah. So let me ask you a few more. So again, it doesn't matter which partner you choose. Nobody's being paid for this, right? This is straightforward. Everyone's here just to help you. And
it shouldn't cost you anything to do this, to apply. If people are charging you to put your application together, then it's fraud. You shouldn't do that. Just reach out to us or Lendistry or one of the resource partners. As Mike showed you, there's tons of resource partners on there.
Yeah. So sorry, just trying to go through some of the questions. A lot of the questions too are around nonprofits, which we will get you answers to the 990 and who signs for it, whether it's the executive director or the board chair. We will get you that answer. We're still waiting to hear back from Lendistry as to who that is. We will send you this, and it is quite okay for you to pass this along to others. Please feel free.
So which tax documents, Mike, they're asking federal, state, or both? And I think you said. So
it's your federal tax documents, right? So either your Schedule C or your 1040 or your 1120s, just depend on 1165, depends how you file, but it is your federal taxes.
Yeah, okay. So I gave up my brick and mortar store, but still operate online with a California business license. Is my store eligible? So the answer is.
So based on what we know, it is still eligible. And if your business is closed right now due to COVID, and what they're going to ask is that you plan to reopen or that you plan to continue selling. That will be part of that self-certification, and that self-certification is part of the application. It's 2 pages towards the end where you're just going to certify a couple of different things that you are a legitimate business, that you plan to, if you receive these funds, you plan to use them correctly based on how you answered. So yeah, so
if you make over 2.5 million and that is your real gross revenue top line item, will you qualify for other loans or programs available? At this time, we don't have any, we don't know those yet. The new PPP, if there is going to be a new PPP, obviously has not been signed by the president. So we don't have that information. This grant is different from that new PPP or whatever that new loan program is, or so at this time, the 2.5 or more, if that is your true gross number, and I would check with one of us or one of our advisors to see if that is your true number, is you're looking at the right line item. But this time, we're not exactly sure if there's going to be other loan programs for that. So yeah, so again, new businesses, if you started your business after June 1st of 2019, at this time, we don't know what else is available. This grant program, unfortunately, is not available to you as eligibility, but maybe the new PPP or new stimulus COVID relief we can help you out with, which we will become experts on as well once it launches.
Yeah, a couple of questions too. I'm a sole proprietor. Does it matter if I file my taxes in joint with my spouse? No, it does not. That would be expected. And then if you don't need help from the partner, that's quite okay. You could just go on to your county, click on the first partner that you see, click on apply for the application, or apply into the application. That's perfectly fine. That's all you need to do. But yeah, you can pick any partner that you want. Doesn't matter what county. They're just trying to see, if you need help from a partner, they're there. And I think they're probably trying to see, which partners were helping different people. But they also want you to be aware that there are these partners out there here to help you. And it's not just with this grant, right? I mean, so whether it's our organization, other organizations, it's also about PPP. And as you're aware, there might be another round of PPP forgiveness, idle funding, just helping your business, taking it from a brick and mortar to online, or just helping you grow your business. That's why we're all here. So it's not just about these funds. So I think it's making you aware that there are partners out there that are there to help you and not charge you anything for it.
Yeah, and you will get a copy of these slides. And somebody asked about EIDL is not a grant. You're right. EIDL is not a grant. It's a loan. This is a grant. You don't have to pay it back, but it is taxable. We are going to send out the email. We'll get you, the slides and everything. Again, all the information, depending on how you retain information, the slides are one thing, this recording is another thing. But you can just go to CaliforniaReliefGrant.com, and all the slide information we've pretty much got off that website and working with Lendistry. We only have the most updated information that they're giving out to us. And then starting tomorrow and probably all next week, there'll be other resource partners giving these webinars. So, if you have questions, what's the most right information, we have a direct connection to Lendistry, so we have the most updated information that you need.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if the days that have different languages, those days are going to be longer. Like these calls are scheduled for an hour. The days that have different languages, we're still learning how to go back and forth from English and the other language. But as you look at our schedule, we have multiple days that are just English. So if you want just English, then just sign up for those days. If you want to hear a little bit of both and see how that works, then you can sign up all the other days. But yeah.
Yeah. So with that, we're going to stop here. If you guys need any help with anything, like I said, we'll send you out our information. There's many different places that are out there for you. Scott, anything else you wanted to add?
No, I put our information in the chat for those of you that keep asking questions in the chat. So if you just go to californiasbdc.org you click on that website, you click on learn more about the COVID-19 California Relief Grant Program. You can find out who to contact, how to contact them, and all that great stuff. And again, never fails, even on a Sunday morning, we got upwards of 250 questions. So we are going to gather all this and take it to Lendistry, get answers to the questions that we're not able to answer that are very case by case and specific. But again, most of the questions to answer for you are going to be on CaliforniaReliefGrant.com. And we thank you very much for joining. us, and we look forward to being here again tomorrow and having a lot more information, hopefully around the application and that process, since it goes live on the 30th. So thank you.
Yeah, and just so you guys are aware, since you signed up for this webinar, you're going to get a direct email that will have the PowerPoint slides and the link to this webinar. It will come directly to you. So there's nothing for you that you're going to need to do. It will be sent to you later today or early tomorrow, depending on when we get it. So thank you all. Have a great Sunday, and best of luck to all of you.
Thank you.